Hey guys, this is Quinn. Welcome to my channel. You're going to be watching me grow Pulse hockey from the ground up. Today, I'm going to dive into the background and how I created our logo. Stay tuned. Hey guys, like I said, let's get into the behind the scenes of how I made and the thought process of making the logo for Pulse. This is Figma here where I designed the logo. This is my workshop page where I usually just mess around and iterate things. Although I didn't film the actual process of making this logo, I at least have iterations throughout so I can kind of walk you through what I was doing in the process. This was a long drawn out process and took back and forth and making sure, and after like time coming back to it and being like, yes, this is good. So I hope you guys enjoy kind of how I came to this, and yeah, let's get into it without any further ado. So starting here, we were just playing with names. You can see some various ones here. I ended up coming across with Pulse because I was researching domains as well, and that was really big for me to be able to have .com, especially pulsehockey.com. I wanted to have like a trustful, reliable domain, as well as like unique, not something that's really been used on hockey sticks before type deal. Really what I was trying here, you can see my dog's name here at the bottom, was just trying to see what would be better, if it would be a longer text or shorter text. I didn't really want an acronym. I wanted it to be a real word that people could like say, and it wasn't like misidentified. And that's why we didn't really end up going with any of the other terms like the Actify, like the made up names, because I just didn't want that to be like lost in translation, hard to spell. So I liked Pulse. We had the domain for it. It's end up like why we went through it. And I like the size of it, was an acronym, and it was good, easy to spell. Moving forward, I was then looking how we're gonna make this logo now that we like picked the name. Felt like, again, like I said in the context video prior, if you want to go check that out to see a little more, I felt like Pulse was like what our mission statement is behind the game, of like adding a pulse to the game. So it really just, I think, worked out perfectly. As we looked into the text wise, I was just seeing if I wanted to go with like a futurist text or something more outlined here. When I really got to this stick, I realized that hockey sticks are skinny and long, so we needed something that could be, even though we had a short word, it could be long ways on the stick and still be legible. I knew we weren't going to really use a font. I knew that was probably not likely. So I ended up just having to go kind of create my own after a ton of trial and error, which essentially we started with here. And as I can show you guys, if I scroll all the way up, this is kind of how we made, or how I made this logo. Just with two shapes and kind of giving that italic font, but blocky still and symmetrical. So just with these shapes, I built out Pulse, and then, you know, united them together, worked on the radius of them. So for example, if you guys were wanting to do this, we can make some two shapes. I'm gonna get the pen tool. We'll go over here and I'm gonna make a shape. That'll be our first one, and we'll fill it. make it red. And I'm gonna get rid of the stroke on there. And for the next one, we want kind of the similar shape, but we're gonna go that way. I'm just guessing here, guys. When you design yours, you're gonna want to be more precise. But this is a good way to just play around, and then if you like a shape, that's when you really hone it in. Just make it look at least a little bit. So we got an L there. Already got a letter. And say that L, I want to make my alma mater. At least an acronym of it. L O U, baby. There we go. And just like that, I mean, it's very simple. Now I want to add them all together. I'm going to unify them. And I'm going to flatten it as well, which will just make it one vector path. That way here, I can go here, click on this corner point, and now add a radius to it. Maybe I really want it to all swoop a certain way, you know? But this is kind of how I first just came playing around with making a logo like this, and that's when I can see I made it cool. I think that's kind of cool. Oh, and say I wanted to add a little, you know, flair to these, so I want to spread them out a little bit, maybe. I'm just gonna pick up that U and move it over. Again, this is not best practice, guys. You would probably have each of these letters as a vector, but I'm just kind of showing you for the sake of how I operate and how I made this. So I want to make a little flare here. I like making straight objects. Oh, messed up. Let me get off that path. I'm gonna make a new shape. I'm gonna fill it, no stroke. Let's do, I think, a green actually, so I can see where it's at. I want it on the same line, and let's get it out that way. And then we'll add them only, I don't know about that, but we're gonna see what it looks like. So take it, unify it. Oh, now we got a green, but I don't like that. Make it back to red. These are a little too harsh. Let's flatten it. And that's when we can like, ooh. That does look, I think, better now, actually. This is like not really the point I was looking for, but you can see kind of what I'm coming up with here. Really not something, but hey, I took a couple shapes and we made a word or something of that. And more or less, that's what I did here. We're able to combine them all, trim them, add different shapes. After I refined it a bit, that's where I add that spike to add a little flair to it. Didn't want to put it on the S. I didn't think it made sense. Sometimes you have to pick certain letters that aren't going to make it. After we picked a pretty good font face that we were liking, I think I fully refined it. This is where we were picking between the two. After I refined, and we went with these two. I like how the outlines touch together. It just looked like a solid graphic. So after that, we wanted to find how are we going to essentially make a mark for us, which is this kind of chevron you see now. I think the first guess a lot of people would do is this heartbeat monitor line, and I just didn't like how thin it was. It looked too medical to me. Nothing was hockey about it. Yeah, we could have turned it into hockey sticks, but then that's like gimmicky to me. Like, I don't think a logo should necessarily be the first thing we think of. It should make sense, but it shouldn't be like necessarily the easiest thing that comes to mind. And these were just words because I was trying to prove that point of, I just knew like I loved this mark. I knew before when we had Pulse, like I wanted something like positive. Pulse, I felt it's like uplifting, heartbeat, you know, it keeps things alive and going. And I liked this just up mark because it reminds me of like a mountain, climbing it, pointing up, always going up. I also think it draws a lot of similarity to just one section here of a heart rate. You know, I think that just, it's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be over explained. It doesn't even really necessarily need to make sense, but I think it fits with the text. When you maybe get that story now, you're like, okay, I can see it, maybe not, but I think that logo just makes sense for us, and that's essentially how we got to here. I was trying other ones just to like throw off, have an off balance one. Didn't really like that. Tried other text combinations and stuff. Didn't really like that. Again, we were trying other iterations of this heart rate monitor. Didn't like, I couldn't get bought on it at all. And that's just where we ended up finally coming here, where we have this nice logo, and I feel like I love how we can like kind of make it 3D-esque. I'm just thinking about plastic mold or rubber mold of this that can be embroidered around, and it's raised here, and so I think it just all looks together well. It kind of has that mountain cold look, but I don't know. I think it fits good, and that was me just kind of rambling a lot, but that was inside my brain and how we got to here. And it wasn't maybe as clean cut and a straight story, linear path, but I think that's important to understand if you're making a logo out there, to just like play around, try things, look at other artwork and stuff and see where you can draw similarities and stuff like that, and things you like. Think about the tonality. With Pulse, I wanted something to be, you know, fierce. That's why we have these extra spikes, you know, like it just is fast, fierce, aggressive, and just, I think about those things, think about your brand, but just don't be afraid to play around. I designed this logo, I think, I want to say last summer, and I left it came back to it multiple times, and it just stood the test of time, and that's where I know I like the logo. So you're not going to come up with an amazing one right away, although I do think you can come up with a lot of different good logos. So challenge yourself, try and make a different logo every day. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hey guys, if you stick till the end, I really do appreciate that. If you subscribed, I appreciate that as well. I saw we were up to like 9 or 10 subscribers yesterday, which is pumping me up, because even if 1 or 2 people want to see more of this, I think that's really cool. And just the fact that 15 minutes of me talking on a video the other day got, you know, a decent amount of people, in my opinion, to want to see more of that. I mean, that's cool. It only had like 15 views, and what, 9 of you want to see more of that. So I plan to bring you guys more. Can't wait to see what you guys want to see. So make sure you comment and let me know what you guys are excited to see next. So yeah, catch you guys later.